Hey everyone, here we are again at our wonder table at St. Albans Episcopal Church. We have our Christ candle, our risen Christ, and our beautiful cross. There's my otter friend. Do you guys still have your otter friends? I love him so much. He reminds us that we're better together, even if this is the only way we can be together for now. Got my celebration chart to keep remembering the celebrations that we can make that may seem small, but are actually really big when we put them all together. I see today took care of plants. Mr. Riley had a plant at his office, and since no one was up there, it was really doing badly and dying, and he brought it home and added some sand to the dirt, which is apparently a thing you can do to help a plant if it's too wet, and put it in the sunlight, has moved this big pot in and out of the house, and it's starting to grow again. It's a really big celebration, actually, taking that time. Made someone laugh, encouraged a friend, was kind to animals. Just remember that you all should have one of these, and if you don't, you can always reach out to me and I can send you one. And you can create your own kind of bingo board and celebrate whenever you get 5 in a row or whatever your family decides. I have my wonder cube here so that we can wonder together after we hear our story. And of course, here's my 3 visitors I made with Play-Doh a couple weeks ago. So let's start today. Well, here I am again with nothing to light my candle with, so we'll light our electric Christ candle. The light of Christ be with you. Okay. So we're going to start by wondering, as we always do. And what I have for you today is, I wonder, what does your body feel like when you are angry? Have you ever been really angry? What does your body feel like when you're feeling angry? You know, all God's children are different, so the answers are not going to be the same for me as they are for you, or for your siblings as they are for you. When I feel angry, I really like to tell someone about my anger. I feel like a compulsion to vent, to talk about it, to talk about what makes me feel angry. Sometimes I get hot and sweaty when I feel angry. I wonder how you feel when you feel angry. What about when you feel sad? Is that similar? My best friend from high school, when she gets really sad or hurt feelings, she reacts like she's angry. That's just the way her body reacts to sadness and hurt. When I feel sad, really want to just hide. I want to get under a blanket and just be alone and have quiet time and privacy. What about physically? If someone accidentally hurts you, or if you're roughhousing with one of your siblings and you get hurt, how does your body feel then? Well, we're going to talk today a lot about big feelings like that, big feelings of worry, sadness, anger, pain. And we're going to talk about how God is with us in those big feelings. And God was with Jacob and Esau when they had really big feelings too. Today's story, we're going to hear more about the blessing and the birthright. And you may be surprised how it goes. Before we begin, let's say a prayer together. Dear God, thank you for being with me when I have big feelings. Amen. So we will start with our family activity book. I'm going to read the story to you here. And we like to go through the stories we've read before. God creates the earth. God creates living things. God creates people. God creates helpers. Abraham and Sarah. God's promise to Abraham. Abraham's visitors, Isaac is born, Jacob and Esau. So remember, Isaac married Rebekah, and Rebekah and Isaac had twin sons, Jacob and Esau. And then last week we heard about the birthright. Remember that Esau came back from working so hard and he was so hungry, and Jacob had made a delicious smelling stew. And Esau said, "Can I have some of your stew? I'm starving." And Jacob said, "You bet, as long as you give me your birthright." Well, the birthright usually goes to the oldest son, and Esau was born just a little bit before Jacob was. And what that means is that he becomes the head of the family. He owns all of the lands and the animals and whatever else they have. And Esau said, "Yeah, you can have it. I'm hungry." So we talked last time about how we need to take time to speak to God, to be with God when we make really big choices and decisions. Well, today we're still in Genesis. All these stories are from the book of Genesis in the Bible, the very first book of the Bible. And here in Genesis 27, we hear about the blessing. Now remember that our faith word for these stories, this unit, is blessing, and that a blessing is all the things that God provides. Anything that God provides is a blessing. So let's hear what happens in this story. Look at the pictures. I wonder what they're thinking. I think Rebekah looks sneaky. Isaac was getting old and could not see well, so he decided it was time to give Esau, his oldest son, his blessing. During biblical times, the father's blessing was very special. Both Jacob and Esau wanted Isaac's blessing. While Esau went hunting for game to cook for Isaac, Rebekah and Jacob tricked Isaac into blessing Jacob instead. Rebekah disguised Jacob in Esau's clothes and made a special meal that Jacob brought to Isaac. Esau returned home too late to receive his blessing. Esau was hurt and very angry at Jacob. Their mother, Rebekah, sent Jacob far away so Esau could not hurt him. Wow. I wonder what you do when you're really angry. I wonder what Esau did. When we're angry, sometimes we do and say things that we don't mean. I don't know if that happens to y'all, but it happens to me a lot. There have been many times that I've had to go back to my loved ones, my friends, my family, even my children, and say, "I am so sorry for the way I acted when I was so angry. My feelings of anger were valid, and it's okay to have them, but it's not okay to do angry, mean things to others." When you're angry, it's a good time to stop and pray, just like when you have to make a big choice. That reminds us of our prayer last week, our spiritual practice from last week. Stop, pray. God is with you every day. Stop and pray. Talk to God when you have big feelings. God is there. So this week, let's encourage one another, those that we see, our family, our friends, whoever we're spending time with, encourage to let go of anger this week. It says that sometimes if you stop and think instead of reacting right away, you'll make wiser choices. Well, let's hear what our Cokesbury kids have to say about that story. They usually give us a little bit more insight, and then we'll do some wondering and then some drawing together. Here we go.
Hi friends, it's Gabby. In this story today, Isaac, Esau's dad, sent for Esau so that he could give him a blessing. Isaac told him to go and prepare food for him, just the way he liked it. Esau went out to get food and bring it back. But while he was out, his brother, Jacob, and his mother did something really wrong. They tricked Isaac into thinking that Jacob was Esau. They prepared food for him just the way he wanted, and dressed up Jacob so that he would feel hairy like his brother. Isaac was tricked and gave the blessing to Jacob instead of Esau. When Esau returned, he found out that his blessing had been given to his brother. He was so hurt, and he cried and asked Isaac to bless him. But Isaac said that he had already given his blessing to his brother. What happened to Esau was really unfair. He was hurt and really upset. It's okay to be upset when someone has done something wrong to you. Do you know what can help? Prayer. Prayer can be really helpful when you've been hurt. Prayer doesn't just have to be on your knees with your head down and your eyes closed. Prayer can be writing down your feelings to God, taking deep breaths, or walking with God, or creating art. One time, me and my friend were talking, and she really hurt my feelings. I had to walk away because I was so upset. I remembered that Dad said, I can always talk to God about anything. As I was walking, I was so hurt and angry. I walked around and told God the whole story. After, I was still hurt, but I felt a lot better. No matter how I pray, God is always there with me. That is so comforting to know. God is always with you, too. I'm not sure exactly what type of prayer would have been best for Esau, but I do think that if he had known that God was with him, it would have made him feel a lot better. Now, it's your turn to wonder.
Guys, that was awesome. I feel like I'm always trying to help you guys realize that we can talk to God anywhere. And Gabby really gave us a great example of that. I was like, yes, that. I love the idea of making art as prayer, of writing to God, of taking a walk in nature. And you can take a walk in nature and talk to God out loud like Gabby did in the story, but you can also just be there in nature and God will be there with you. And that still small voice that is God's Holy Spirit within you will speak to you. You don't hear it like you hear Miss Catherine talking to you. Hey, here's what you should do. But just a comfort, like Gabby was saying, that when you know God is always there, it's comforting. So let's wonder together. Here's my wonder cube. You get yours too. I'm going to throw it. Catch. I got yellow today. And it says, I wonder what you would change about the Bible story. Now, if you've thrown your wonder cube and gotten a different wondering question, I encourage you to answer that too. If you'd like to pause my video here and talk with your family or whoever you're with about these wondering questions, I would encourage you to do that right now. And now I'm back. If you have paused, if you haven't, you can just keep listening. I really love to hear what y'all wonder, what y'all think. And it's hard for me to just be alone and wonder myself and not get to hear your wonderful, insightful wonderings. But I do like this question, what would you change about the Bible story? And I specifically like it with this Bible story because it's a frustrating story to me. This whole time we've been learning about Jacob and Esau, they keep talking about how Esau's so hairy. And I'm like, bro, why do we need to know about his body hair? Well, it's because that's how Rebekah and Jacob tricked Isaac into giving Jacob the blessing, because they put like fur on him. And so then when he touched his hand, they thought it was him. What I would change about this Bible story is that Jacob and Rebekah would not trick Isaac, and that Rebekah, Esau's mama, would not, throw him under the bus like that. That's really hard for me to imagine. I have 2 children and I would never choose one over the other. And part of this story of God's people is that we learn from them. But that's a hard story for me. I wonder how you feel about it. And I wonder what you would change if you could change something. Thinking about blessings, I wonder if you all say a blessing over the family meal at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming up pretty soon. not this week, but the week after next. But in our Bible story that we read, we heard about how Isaac asked Esau to go and fix him his favorite meal and told him how to prepare it. And so here goes Esau out to get the game that he needs to hunt so that he can bring it home and cook this delicious meal for his dad, because his dad was feeling really old and unwell, and he really wanted to hand over his big jobs to his son. Well, it ended up that Isaac and Rebekah made something instead, and Jacob and Rebekah made something instead, and it got all messed up. But one of the things I really love to do to show my love for my family is to cook. I love to cook. And Thanksgiving is a time that we cook really special favorite foods and traditional meals, and share a blessing together and share food. So I'm wondering what your favorite food is. What's your favorite food to eat? That can be a hard question. Kind of depends on how you're feeling at the time. Your favorite sweet food, your favorite savory, your favorite snack. I really love to eat brie cheese and baguette, like a French baguette sliced brie cheese, some cucumber and tomato. Oh, it's my favorite. But at Thanksgiving, I love to eat turkey and gravy and dressing. In our family, Mr. Riley's family from East Texas, they make something called shrimp dressing. It's like a cornbread dressing with shrimp in it. And it's very different from anything I'd ever had before Mr. Riley and I got married almost 18 years ago. But now it's like the thing that I love the most. And so I thought it would be fun if we would do some artwork together. That's kind of a form of prayer, right? And think about our favorite foods to fix at Thanksgiving and to share with our family. Now, you don't have to draw Thanksgiving food. If you want to just do your favorite food to share with family, that's okay too. But what I want to do is draw together, do some artwork together as we think about cooking and eating and sharing food as a family. And I am super excited because I have figured out this new thing where I can share my screen from my second camera. So I'm still here in the corner, and this is my document camera right here over my piece of paper, which is where I'm going to draw my favorite food. So you run and get, if you don't already have it, some paper, markers, crayons, pencils, whatever you like to use for artwork, maybe paint, maybe chalk, even you could mold it like with Play-Doh or clay if you want to do that. That'd be kind of cool to make little clay or Play-Doh food. And let's think together as we draw about our favorite food to share. And then I would encourage you to show that to your family and then cook that meal and share that food together. And as you eat, talk about all the many blessings that you have in your life, all the many things that God provides. You can write down your blessings as a family or paint them beautifully like we did with the joy poster, and place them somewhere like maybe on your fridge where you can see them through the week. Look at all these blessings we have. I bet if Jacob and Esau really thought about it, they had so many blessings that it wasn't just that one blessing of their fathers that was important, but there were many, many blessings. So I'm going to draw, back to what I was talking about, this shrimp dressing. Now, there is never enough of this, and Riley's Nana B always fixes a ton of this stuff. She makes these big serving dishes that are made of glass, and they're an oval shape. I'm not kidding. Like, this is how traditional this is. It's always the same dishes. And she makes two huge ones, and then she has one that's a little bit smaller. And she usually saves that one for the next day because we all love to go back and, oh, I think it's a little blurry. Let me see if I can focus in a little bit. There we go. A little bit better. I can actually get this camera pretty close to my drawing. We like to go on the day after Thanksgiving and get some shrimp dressing and some cranberry sauce And what else is really good left over? Oh, she always does a big ham and gets these rolls called Sister Schubert rolls. And we love to have a ham roll sandwich either later in the evening on Thanksgiving Day or the next day with a little side of shrimp dressing. And gosh, it's so good. And I'm really having a lot of big feelings about not getting to share that meal with my family. But you know what? I've been texting with Nana B. That's Riley's Aunt Barbara, who's the matriarch of the family. And she's just full of grace and love and generosity. And she's the most amazing cook. And so I've been texting with her because guess what? I'm going to make all this food this Thanksgiving. Even though it's just going to be us at our house, we're going to make turkey and gravy and shrimp dressing, green beans, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes with marshmallows on top. That's what Claire likes. Pretzel salad is another thing we always fix. That is strawberries and strawberry jello on the bottom. And then on top of that is like a sweetened cream cheese. And then on that top of that is crushed pretzels that have been mixed with butter. And it is like so good. Wait a minute. No, the pretzels go on the bottom. Anyway, I'll have to get the recipe for sure because I'm going to make it. Never made it before, but we can't have our Thanksgiving without shrimp dressing. So we're going to try to make all these foods and think about all of our blessings. Now, I don't know if you can see this very well. It's kind of bright, so you can't really see. What if I do this? Light? Light does not really make any difference, does it? Well, I've got my glass dish, and it's all full of cornbread dressing. And now I'm putting in my shrimps. So I use this yellow color for the cornbread dressing, which is literally you make like, I don't know, 2 huge circles of cornbread in the iron skillet. And then you crumble them all up into a big bowl. And then you get another skillet and you cook onions and celery in a whole lot of butter, y'all, like 2 whole sticks of butter. And then you add some parsley, fresh parsley, green onions, I think. And then you add your shrimp. You've already washed and deveined. That means get all the poop out of your shrimp and peel them, and they're all ready. And you put all the shrimp in there in that buttery onions and celery and salt and parsley and pepper. And then you take that shrimp vegetable goodness and dump it into that big bowl full of crumbled up cornbread. And then I gotta put the green stuff, right? And then you pour chicken broth in it until it's wet. And this is one of the things that's like, it's a family recipe, you know, because there's not a specific amount of chicken broth. It's till it's ready, till it's the right consistency. So it has to be moist, but not too wet because, I don't know. Anyway, mix it all together, put it in your casserole dishes, and then bake it in the oven until it gets nice and like crunchy golden brown on top. You guys, it is to die for. That's a phrase that is kind of weird. It doesn't really mean die. It's just so good that you're like, I would almost die to eat this, which is silly because you can't eat when you're dead. But anyway, I do think if I was starving and someone came up to me and said, hey, what will you give me for this hot piping dish of shrimp dressing, that I might be tempted to give away some important stuff. So that would be a good time to stop, pray, talk to God. He's with us every day. So there's my shrimp dressing, my Thanksgiving shrimp dressing. And this is what I'm going to cook with my family. I'll get help from the kids. And we're going to cook it and eat it and talk about our many many. You guys, apparently I want there to be two N's in many. Many, many blessings. So I wonder what you drew. I sure would love for you to send me a text or an email or respond to this YouTube video with a picture of your artwork. Many, many blessings. I'll try like this so you can see my shrimp dressing. Dressing and blessing rhyme. Maybe I'll write a song about that. Okay. Friends, we are so blessed, all of us, every single one of us. God's blessings and the blessings that God provides are for everyone. And no one is worth more blessings than any other person. And there is always something to be thankful for. Today, I'm really thankful for you. I'm thankful for the story of Jacob and Esau to remind us to stop and pray when we feel big feelings of anger or hurt or sadness. Even really big good feelings like overexcitement, nervous energy. Stop and pray. Remember that God is with you every day. Friends, I am so blessed because of you. You are a blessing to me. And you are so blessed. And I know that you have many blessings as well. I want to say one more prayer before we go. And this is one of those prayers like they show the picture. You don't always have to close your eyes or get on your knees. You can pray in all different ways. Right now, we're going to pray with words. You can put your hands however you love to talk to God. Pray with me. Dear God, help me to be a blessing to myself and to others. Amen. Have a wonderful week. Remember to pay attention to the blessings that God gives you. Remember to talk to God, to stop and talk to God when you feel big feelings. Remember that God is always with you. All my love.